Pete Moore, World of PCM Guns. We're talking Bergara today, and this is one of their latest rifles. The B14 Wildlands carbon thumbhole. Pretty obvious, carbon barrel, thumbhole stock. Very nice indeed. This is based on a Remington 700 action, so anything Remington 700, triggers, bottom metal, magazine conversion kits will fit this along with scope bases. They come from the factory with a set of Weaver bases on dovetails. Not amazing, but a good solid mount if you don't want to chuck 100 quid at a 20 MOA down rail. For this review, Swarovski very kindly lent me a Z8i, their latest range of scopes with an increased magnification range, 2-16 by 50p, which you can put ballistic turrets on. Newer is the Nylode Gen X moderator. This little tiny thing is rated for 300 calibers. It's muzzle mounted, as you see, we'll see it in action. It's very short, very compact. But the beauty of that combined with this is that as this weighs just 6.6 pounds empty, no scope, no nothing on it, when you put a scope and a moddy on, it doesn't put the weight up that much and the rifle is still very handy. The thumbhole stock is a decent synthetic material, very rigid. Let's concentrate on the butt section first of all. So, got a nice generous thumbhole cutout, and they've inserted a thick rubber gripping pad here, which is excellent. We'll see the same on the fore end. The top strap's nice and solid. A little bit cutaway here, so you can cup it under the butt if you want to, with an integral comb, which is really nice. It looks quite basic. You just undo a captive Allen bolt there, slides up and down, and it allows you to position your head for the perfect eye scope alignment. Length of pull hasn't been forgotten, because just you add them or subtract spacers. The gun comes with 2 half-inch spacers, so you get a length of pull adjustment about 1 inch. However, as you can probably see, this drops here, and the back of this plate here that connects to the butt has got multiple holes in it. And Bergara supply 3 sets of screws of different lengths, so if you don't want any spacers in, you use shorter screws. If you want both spacers in, you use the longest screws. But you can actually drop this down. As you can see, I've dropped it below the line of the butt, and that, for me, in terms of my eye scope, general shoulder position, makes the rifle feel nicer. Recoil pad's very generous, and again we'll see, as well as QD sling swivels, studs, front and rear, there's 2 at the front, 1 at the rear, you get side-mounted QD sockets, and I really like a side-mounted sling. It makes a much easier carry. No real surprises here. It's a 700 action, as I've said before. What Bergara have done, they've changed the shape of the shroud. All guns come with an elongated bolt handle with a nice knob on the end. Very professional. There's a cocked action indicator here, easy to see. And it's got the classic Remington style 2-position rolling safety. Safe, fire, but with safe you get the classic bolt operation, which is great for unloading. Trigger is nothing special, but it's nice. It comes in a box, adjustable, you just adjust for weight, nothing else. The blade is mid-width and nicely curved. The guard is full, easy enough to get a glove fingering. And say when I tested this over the gauge, it was breaking at about 2 pounds, crisp, short pull. I didn't touch it, no complaints. Feed, a Bergara made 5-round box mag that is AICS, actually International Chassis System compatible. The release paddle is ambidextrous, which is quite nice. The fore there is medium full, square, with a very generous free float, as we shall see. It also has a secondary set of rubber, same as the pistol grip, which again for offhand shooting is great. It really does give you something to grip on. As I said, there's 2 QD sling studs here, one there, one there. And I've got a Harris BRS bipod. What else would you fit to a hunting rifle? Action is pillar bedded with aluminium pillars front and rear. The inlet is clean, and I say you've got a big free float here, and inside there's some cross bracing, back to front, left to right, which gives you a pretty rigid fore end. The carbon fibre wrap barrel is 20 inches long on this model because it's a 308. As we shall see, there are other options. It's cut 5/8 by 24 UNEF, American, and the rifle comes with this multi-port muzzle brake, which is said to reduce felt recoil by about 35%, plus a thread protector. The finish is attractive and also very practical. This lovely stock has a tan base camo with like a grey-green over pattern, which just looks good. I'm a absolute sucker for camo finishes. If you look a bit closer, you can see there's like a web, which is like a over web of, it's probably some sort of adhesive sprayed on, that just raises that off the stock body and gives you a bit more grip. Never a bad thing. All the metal parts are Cerakote Sniper Grey finished. Again, that's a good tough finish, and obviously the carbon fibre speak for itself. So really, the rifle is very much impervious to the elements. If you're dragging it up a mountain to shoot chamois and things like that, you want something that's going to take the knocks and not be bothered by the wet. Bergara offer the Wilderness Thumbhole carbon in 4 options. This, as I say, is a 20-inch 308. A little bit short, you might think, but 308's quite a forgiving calibre for shorter barrels. You then get a 6.5 Creedmoor sensibly at 22 inches, which is nice, both short action. And then if you want more power, you've got the classic 300 Win Mag, say, which is a long action for obvious reasons, with a 24-inch barrel. And if you want something new and modern, then there's 6.5 PRC precision rifle cartridge, which is just like a 6.5 Creedmoor on steroids. Again, long action, again a 24-inch tube. Obviously the weight goes up. Bergara say that with this rifle, it's 0.7, 0.8 of a pound lighter than a comparable gun with a steel barrel, which is quite nice. Obviously the 2 bigger calibers are heavier because more meat in the receiver and a bit more tube. And this is where Bergara have always scored. They've produced quality rifles that are well capable of shooting with a price that is very effective. Bergara say that with match ammo, the gun should shoot sub-MOA, which is good, though you don't use match ammo out in the field. But basically, if the rifle shoots, it shoots. If it's shooting an inch, it's still more than capable of shooting deer. Okay, because the slightly loss of weight on the rifle, which is admirable for carrying and handling, with 308 it's a little bit more jumpy. This is 165 grain SST reload I use through it. But apart from that, you get used to it, and it's a hunting rifle, you're not hammering lots of rounds through it. The bolt action is very nice and smooth, it feeds well, ejects well. As I said before, these gripping sections here are very comfortable. And if you go offhand, again, they do help. So I've adjusted the length of pull for me, which is maximum, but I've dropped this whole pad assembly down a bit, and it sits on my shoulder quite nicely. Cheek piece is good. The Modi is perhaps a little bit noisy, but it's certainly under any painful limits. So in terms of having a compact Modi that is efficient out in the field, then this is quite a nice option. Okay, let's look at the facts and figures. I use 6 different loads, 3 lead cord, 3 non-lead, as follows. First up, normal 170 grain tip strike, which is a ballistic tip, which was doing 2533 feet per second. These are all average figures, obviously. The standard deviation of 10.5 feet per second, it's not too scabby at all. Energy 2435 foot-pounds, again good. Group was 1.3 inches, so just over the MOA. Secondly, Cellier and Bellot 180 grain PTS, which again is a ballistic tip load, a little bit heavy, but velocity was 2454 feet per second, standard deviation 5.5, energy 2401 foot-pounds with a very pleasing 0.75 inches. So again, sub MOA. Finally, in the lead, Barnes 175 grain boat tail hollow point. It's a match load, so it's not for hunting, but it gives you an idea of what that weight could do with either an alternative factory offering or a reload. Velocity 2509 feet per second, 1.38 feet per second standard deviation, energy 2457 foot-pounds, and excellent group, in fact best group of the test, 0.65 inches. So that is very good. Right, non-lead, Lepers 170 grain Naturalis, which is a monolithic copper hollow point with a ballistic tip on top, and that is 2528 feet per second with a SD quite high, 24.2 feet per second. Energy 2430 foot-pounds and a group 0.9, so again sub MOA. RWS 165 grain hit, which is again a monolithic hollow point with a ballistic tip, but this one has a nickel coated jacket on the bullet. 2538 feet per second and an SD of 15.1 feet per second. Energy a little bit lower here, not quite sure why, but it is. 2373 foot-pounds and 0.95 inches, so again sub MOA. And finally, Gecko's 165 grain Star, which is one of their newer non-lead offerings. It's a copper monolithic hollow point. It's going 2501 feet per second, 11.8 feet per second SD with an energy of 2300 foot-pounds and a group of 1.1. So really, everything there is completely shootable. So 1.3 is over the MOA, but then again, Bergara said it's only shoot sub with match ammo, and as we can see, 4 out of 6 shot sub MOA, so that's pretty good. So, overall, it's a nice rifle. Price is brilliant, $14.45, which is mad. You've got carbon barrel, you've got really nice stock, so you're getting a lot for your money. The one thing I think is that in 308, the lightness works for it as well as against it, because it's a little bit more jumpy, certainly if you're using heavier loads, because the fact you've lost at least half a pound of weight compared to a normal all steel rifle. If it were me, I'd go for the 22-inch 6.5 Creedmoor, which I think is the most sensible choice. Recoil will be down a little bit with 140 type, 130 grain loads, and Creedmoor does have a reputation for good accuracy. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, tell your friends. If you want to talk to me about anything, then it's pmoore.shootingsports@gmail.com. And I'll see you again soon with some more stuff. So have fun, shoot straight, be safe. It's Pete Moore signing off.